Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fish's Reviews. This is the second review I'm doing on this channel. This one will be for the TV show, Amazon Prime TV show Invincible. I'm a big fan of this show. I think it's really good. One of the best animated shows we have on air right now. Well, it's not on air, but you know what I mean. But as I was saying before, I'm a big fan of Invincible. I think it's really great, and I'm eagerly awaiting season 2. Season 1 was really, really well done. I'm glad the way they handled things, and I think when the show first starts, when you first watch the show, you're not going to be very interested initially, because you're going to think that it's boring. You're not gonna find it very enjoyable. Because the show starts off very bland. It's just a run-of-the-mill superhero show. But by the end of the first episode, you will be hooked. You will find it. You'll be like, oh, whoa. Because at the end of the first episode, there's this big twist that happens, and everyone's like, oh, whoa, what's going on? And you're gonna have to watch the entire season to get to the bottom of that twist. It's just a heads up for that. So let's talk about the plot. This is something I think is really well structured. Each episode has a different villain, but they're not all super redundant. They're all I wouldn't say they're all very interesting. They have interesting powers, interesting premises and whatnot. But I'd say the ongoing, there's like a B plot and then there's an A plot. The A plot would be what you consider the main plot. B plot is what happens in every episode. It's like a minor plot that's contained within a single episode. So A plot. This regards Mark Grayson and his family. He is the son of basically another Superman ripoff, Omni-Man. Omni-Man is, again, this world's version of Superman. But the difference is that he's not actually a very good person. It turns out he kills the Guardians of the Globe at the end of the first episode, which you could think of as, the Invincible version of the Justice League. But as Omni-Man, kills the knockoff Justice League, as this, is happening, Mark Grayson, the main character, the title character, he gets his powers and he becomes an official superhero, and that's really what the show is about. It's about Mark finding his way, finding what kind of superhero he wants to be. It's not exactly a unique premise, but it's made unique by the situations he goes through. It's made unique by the adult situations. Adult in the sense, it's a lot more gory than most shows. If you're someone who gets upset very easily, you won't want to watch this show. It's got boys level of goriness, arguably more goriness than The Boys. But it's a very this show does not pull its punches on Mark. Mark is constantly getting clowned on. Despite his name, it's kind of sad to watch, to be honest. It's not just it is sad, because the first, I think, 3 episodes, Mark does pretty well for himself. But then, I think it's the first 3. No, it's the first 4 episodes. First 4 episodes, Mark is, he's basically Superboy, not the insanely OP Superboy, but he does pretty well for himself. He doesn't get his ass kicked all the time. He's able to hold his own against the villains, and he does win against them most of the time. But come episode 5 is when he really starts to get his ass. He really starts to. It's kind of like when you're playing a video game and you do super well in the lower leagues, but once you up, when you're in bronze league, you're like, oh yeah, easy. But when you get to silver, you start to get your ass kicked, and it's a bit of a learning curve. It's a similar situation for Mark. When we get to this 5th episode, he starts to face people who are a bit out of his I don't know exactly the expression, but he starts to face people who he can't exactly compete with at his level, and because of it, he nearly dies. This is specifically he fights the Battle Beast, and Battle Beast is a character. I'd say he's kind of like a benchmark for a very strong character. If when the series continues and when we get back into it, consider Battle Beast as the strongest person we have seen so far. Him or Omni-Man are two of the strongest characters in the show, and they will stay that way for the majority of the show. I don't want to get into comic spoilers quite yet. I might touch on it a bit later on, but just consider that, consider Omni-Man and Battle Beast the two benchmarks of strength. This is who Mark has to measure up to. This is who he has to surpass if he wants to become the strongest. If he wants to become truly invincible, he has to surpass Battle Beast or Omni-Man. They're both, I'd say, in the same, maybe not same tier of strength, but they're relatively close to each other. Not, to be honest, even saying that they're relatively close doesn't exactly feel true, because I do think Battle Beast would kick Omni-Man's ass, but that's a different discussion. Anyways, so he gets his ass kicked a lot. That's the point. But this makes him endearing. It's not fun to watch a show where a character will always win. Sometimes you need to lose. And Mark does plenty of that. Not always, like I said, first 4 episodes he does quite well for himself, but past the 5th episode onwards, he loses a shit ton. And honestly, I don't think he wins a single fight after the 5th episode. I need to check. So to touch on the episodes themselves, they're not, I don't think they're great on their own. This is a show that you need to watch all together. All 8 hours of it. You need to watch it together. Because it will not, it's not gonna be that great on its own, standalone. You're gonna want to watch it all together. It's sort of like a long movie. So yeah, watch it all at once. Or if you feel a little adventurous, maybe watch one episode at a time. You don't have to watch it all together, not all at once. When I say all at once, what I mean is you should watch this whole series through and then make a judgment about it. Do not judge this show based on the episodes. Judge the show based on the series. Because this is a very plot-driven show. It's plot-driven and character-driven. If you watch episode 1 and then skip to episode 5, nothing will make sense to you. because things will have changed in that time. It's not the kind of show that you can just turn on TV and then watch, and then next week you come on and you watch like a different episode. It's not like, say, SpongeBob, which is a weird comparison to make, but that's exactly why I'm making a comparison. It's not like SpongeBob where the episodes are completely detached. This is a plot-driven story. You should watch it in order, and you should watch the episodes close to each other. Next, I want to speak about... I think that's mostly what I want to speak about. There are... no. I want to speak about some of the characters. Okay, first character I want to talk about. Omni-Man. Omni-Man is one of the best characters in this show. Arguably the best. I think he's not my favorite character. Mark is my favorite character. I know I'm basic, but Mark is my favorite character. Something about, I guess it's, if I had to sum it up in a short sentence, he's like Spider-Man. I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. He reminds me a lot of Spider-Man in the sense, he's a very rookie, down-to-earth character. Now, I do say that knowing full well pretty soon he's gonna get very strong. Because this show, it does get pretty crazy later on. Right now, if you think we're at the peak of power within the first season, you are wrong. Things ramp up, not insanely high. It's not like Dragon Ball Z where you go from like a moon busting villain to like a freaking solar system level character. No, it's a gradual build, which is what should be the goal. Things shouldn't just jump from one strength to another. You should gradually build strength. And you can see that within this. It's not easy to notice, but I think, Mark does get stronger over time. And this is actually part of the lore of the series. Mark is Viltrumite. He, and like Saiyans, they get stronger every time they fight. They get stronger anytime they lose, anytime they win. They just do get stronger. As long as they're fighting, they will get stronger, is the point. And, I think that you can somewhat see it. Watching Omni-Man, I wouldn't say he exactly struggled against the Immortal in the original fight. When he first kills Immortal, he doesn't struggle, but he puts in a bit of effort. But when he fights Immortal the second time, he barely has to do anything because he's gotten stronger from the first experience. I wouldn't say it's as strong, but again, just a fun little tidbit. But yeah, Mark, he's a very endearing character. He's a bit naive, but he learns, it's good. Most of the time, like series like this, they really benefit from two things. Series revolving around rookie superheroes, like for example, Spectacular Spider-Man or Young Justice. Both of those series have, I wouldn't say similar premises to this series, but they have similar characters, and they both really benefited from two things: the fact that their characters learned from their mistakes. They started out as naive teenagers. They were just trying to, they had the right idea, but they didn't really know how to do anything because, naive little kids. But, as time goes on, they learn more and more, and they become experienced. And that's what's so great about this series. You can tell Mark learns about this kind of stuff. You will not see him make the same mistakes, I think. Because, again, that's what the show's about. It's about his journey to becoming a full-fledged superhero. He He learns from his mistakes. He learns what he should and shouldn't do, who he should and shouldn't trust, and that's endearing. Every time we see, every time we see him on screen, we see him lose, we know he's gonna come back stronger. He's gonna come back with more experience, and that's just the kind of thing I love to see. It's what makes Spider-Man endearing. It's what makes most of the Young Justice cast endearing. It's what makes really most teen superheroes endearing. Knowing that when they lose or when they win or whatever, they're always learning. That's fun to watch. Next, I want to talk about Omni-Man. This guy he's very fun to watch. I know I said he was my favorite. He was one of my favorite characters. He is, but not for the reasons you might think. Because Omni-Man as a character, it's similar to how for some people, Joker might be a favorite character of theirs. Because, we all know Joker is not a good person. He's a homicidal maniac. And it's similar to Omni-Man. Omni-Man is interesting in that he's very clearly a villain. From the first episode onward, he is a bad person, and you see him do bad things all the time. If just small things here and there that tell you he's not to be trusted. And by the last episode, he goes batshit insane. He nearly beats his own son to death, and he basically breaks his wife's heart. But the thing that makes me like Omni-Man is that it's not his current character per se, but it's that he has more depth than a homicidal maniac. You can tell, again, from the last episode, you could tell that he actually does have some level of humanity, even though he's not a human, even though he's not conditioned to love or like anyone because that's the way he was raised. He still loves his family. He still loves his son, and he still loves his wife, and you can even say that he still loves Earth. And the fact that he ran off really says something, because like the show says, Viltrumites are very, very, I'm struggling to find the right word. They're persistent, is what I'm thinking of. I was about to say very persuasive. That doesn't make any sense, but they're persistent. The fact that he left really says that he did not want to destroy Earth. He didn't want to enslave it or anything, because he probably liked it. And that's interesting to me, And it's on one hand, it's like, well, how does that even work? Why do you even like it? But on the other, you have to understand, the guy is thousands of years old. He's literally thousands of years old. We don't have a real estimate of how old he is, but we know he is definitely thousands, if not, just thousands. He's definitely not over 10,000. I'd say anywhere from 1.5 to 3,000 years old. That is how old Omni-Man is. No joke. Next, but he's been ingrained with this essentially propaganda, Viltrumite propaganda, for his entire life. And the fact that Earth was able to kind of possibly snap him out of it, it's a bit endearing. It's nice to see, especially it gives some leeway for a redemption arc, which that's what we all like to see. Maybe not everyone. Not everyone might not agree with the fact that Omni-Man is going to be redeemed. And when I say going to, he will be redeemed. It's trust me on this. It's not a choice. It's not a choice. You don't have a choice. Uh, there's really no competition. He will be redeemed. Trust me on that. Um, but yeah, I think I've said all I want to say about the show. So yeah, Invincible. Go watch it. It's good. Watch all of it. I know you anyone who's watching the show for the first time. I know you guys might see the first episode and be like, "Oh, this is boring. I don't want to watch this." But seriously, sit through the first episode. I I beg of you, if you get through it, everything else is so much better. And you have to watch the first episode. You you cannot skip it. You have to watch it. You absolutely have to. Other than that, yeah, Invincible, I'd give it on a scale out of 10. I gave ZSJL, I think I gave that 6.5. So, maybe an unpopular opinion. I think this is better than the Snyder Cut. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Invincible, 8 out of 10. There are some issues with the series, but they're minor ones. Just one I want to point out. But Amber is not. Amber was a. Okay, I just want to put this out there real quick. Amber was a good character until they made her say that weird stuff about her knowing that Mark was a superhero. I get that they want to make Amber seem like a smart individual. That is completely acceptable. And I don't mind that they wanted her to figure out that Mark was a superhero. I don't care. But it makes no sense. It doesn't. Why would she be pissed if, at the college, Mark left, she thought Mark left to, she ditched them. He ditched them. And, that's like, okay, yeah, that's a reasonable reason to be pissed. Like up until episode I think 7, I can empathize with Amber, but after she says, "I knew you were a superhero," it's like, what? Come on. I mean, yeah, he should have told you, but then why were you mad at him from before? You should have just said that he's a superhero. Alright? Because the thing with the secret identity, it's not something you give away. Okay? You got it. What happens when you two break up? What if you break up? I mean, Amber already knows Mark is a superhero, and he didn't even tell her. What happens if, she gets in trouble? What if someone tries to kidnap her and they force her to tell force her to tell them, who Invincible is? It's to protect you and everyone else. It's not a thing that the superhero does to protect themselves. It's to protect their loved ones. Amber, you got it. I don't know how you didn't realize this. Alright? It's not something you just tell people. Alright? I mean, they've been dating for like 5 months. And she just expects that from him. Like, you can't just go out and tell every girlfriend you've ever had that you're a superhero. That's not a good idea. That's just how it is. Alright? I'm sorry. But that's how it is. But yeah, Amber, again, I can empathize with her until after that point. But the moment she found out he was a superhero, she should have just went up to him and been like, "Hey, I know you're a superhero. Next time, tell me about it, okay?" And I'm sure Mark, Mark is not an idiot. He's not a dumbass. He would comply. He'd be like, "All right, if that's what you say," because it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, that entire thing. And honestly, that in of itself docks a whole point off for me, because it was so dumb. For an otherwise great series with great writing, that bit made no sense. And they really should have just made it to that. They really should have just made it so that she didn't know, but when she does find out, she didn't care. If you know what I mean, like Mark would come in and he'd be like, "Hey, I'm a superhero," and she'd be like, "You think that fixes anything? I don't care. You still fucked my shit up. You still lied to me, or My point is, they could have handled it better, and I hope they handle her character and they handle other aspects of the series better than they handled that whole thing. Because again, it really wasn't that. Really wasn't that. It was. Oh my god. Whatever. I'm gonna stop talking about it because it pisses me off. Anyways, yeah, Invincible. Invincible. Go watch it. 8 out of 10. Very good show. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free for you. But otherwise, you probably have to buy it on Amazon Prime. Not buy it on Amazon Prime. You have to get Amazon Prime to watch the show. Which I don't think is a terrible steal. Amazon Prime is pretty useful. Again, thank you for watching my ramblings, my videos. Subscribe, leave a like, all that YouTuber stuff. Or don't. I don't really care. I'm not trying to get a viewer base. I'm not trying to. Whatever. Thank you for watching.